There's been a lot of discourse about Fuji and the X Half. History aside, the whole X Half thing, I didn't really dig much into it, and I don't really care to dig much into it. But I suppose Fuji at one point had cameras, or there were film cameras that shot half of a 35 millimeter film strip. Sorry, rocket science, not interested. However, I'm always interested in a new toy, particularly from Fuji. And there's a lot about what I'm seeing here that I like. There's a lot about the noise and discourse that's been happening around this camera that I understand. And I'm still on the fence. I'm still on the fence. Now, I'd made a comment a while back about camera companies no longer being adventurous, not making weird cameras. And it's something that I noticed when I was looking to get my film camera. As I researched what film camera would work for me, I ran across all types of weirdness. Like it was nuts, the amount of weirdness I ran across with film cameras, like the medium formats, the 35 millimeter formats, but also the way the cameras work, the way the film advanced levers work, the way the viewfinders work, the way you load them, the form factors. Like there was so much, like it was nuts. And what was clear to me was as time went on, cameras as tools became more clinical. They became more purpose driven, and they also became more boring. And this is something that this is what I enjoy about Fuji, and I enjoyed about Olympus as well. You know, I love my Sony. It's a clinical machine. It's a surgeon's tool. But then also when I'm knocking about the house or going out to explore, to do some street photography, I would like something with a little more character. And I feel like the industry has lost that. So things like the Sigma BF, things like the Fuji X Half, Canon had one recently. Was it the PowerShot V70 or something like that? It piques my interest, right? Just weirdness, like, let me take a look and see. And then the more you exercise the ability to get things right in camera, the more you can release that urge that you need a camera with 2,000 megapixels and 59 stops of dynamic range because you don't trust yourself to get the shot and you want to sit around in Photoshop all day. Like, I don't have time for that, right? So the Fuji X Half, I think, is a very interesting camera from my perspective, solely because of its quirks and just the weirdness of it, right? I quite like it. So kudos to Fuji for jumping out the window and just doing something new. I like the design, although digging into the Fuji subreddit, where I spent a lot of time, I won't tell anybody, the reports are the build quality is not what we've come to expect from Fuji. So it does have this plastic feel to it, which is kind of a letdown, but also it's an $850 camera. I'm not sure what we're expecting at that price point, but okay. But from a design standpoint, I think it looks attractive. I really want to get to, because it looks quite tiny, right? There's something about compact cameras that'll always appeal to me. I have this concept about technology where the best technology, or technology is at its best when it disappears. And I think a camera is much along that line. The best camera is the one that's easiest to carry wherever you go. It's easiest to, when you're out on a date with your lady, just put on the table. It's easiest for the baby to grab and play around with, right? Like, I like compact cameras. And what I like about compact cameras, I'm looking at Micro Four Thirds and Olympus. I'm looking at the Ricoh GRs, the Sony RX line. There's so many great examples of great functionality, great image quality, that is offered in a compact form factor, right? And years ago, when you say compact, you know you were giving up some very real things. There were a lot of caveats. Now, you can have a compact camera and still be able to capture the moment you want to capture, let's say that. So I really do like compact cameras, and I'm very curious to hold it. I want to see what the actual size of it is. So I don't know, stay tuned. What I love about Fuji and their decision around this camera is the approach of their film simulation modes. And I have an appreciation for this recently because I've been shooting film. I got a film camera and I've got the same roll of film in there for the last 6 months, right? Therein lies the problem of film. But I get the idea of that limit, that 24 shot limit. And when I use my film camera, it's more of a companion because of how expensive film is, right? It's really a novelty, but a dope experience. So what I'll do is if I'm intentionally going out shooting, I'll grab whatever digital camera I'm rocking with, and then I'll grab the film camera. And for me, I find that moments come in seasons. So if you say you're walking around a park, I'm not taking photos every 10 steps, right? But there are some things in the park I would like to capture. So if I come home with, let's say, 30 or 40 images from a walk in the park, that's an opportunity to capture 2 or 3 film images, right? And it's about exercising that raw moment. So with the digital camera, you know, you'll probably take 10 shots of the same thing because you can. And when it comes to that film shot, you take your time, you think about the exposure, you think about the moment, you think about your composition, and then you spend your $20 per shot. And that's okay. But that experience of having 24, I gotta make sure that the moment I choose to capture is worth capturing because it's limited. Fuji took that and put it in this camera. They built an experience around that ideology, which I think is super dope. So when you put this thing in film mode, it locks you into 24, 36, or 52, whatever those images, and it will count. And then it locks you into a film simulation mode. And you turn the camera off and you turn it back on and it's like, oh, sorry, I'm still in film mode. You're gonna take these shots. And then they got the lever, the film advance lever to mimic that. On to the next shot. I got it. On to the next shot. Like there's so much about the camera that I love. And me personally, I think there's so much value even as a car guy, right? I think there's so much value to sit and listen to when Porsche releases a new car, Audi releases something, and they give the context behind the design. They give the context behind the engine they chose, why it has this much horsepower, why we chose this suspension, because this was supposed to be a track monster. And it's not about horsepower, but it's about taking away 800 pounds from the chassis. Like, I think that's the type of details that brings us closer to the projects, or let's say the products, the products we love, and the way we use these products and the projects we use them. Everything is so purposeful. So I quite like how Fuji is able to identify one of the things that we as camera enthusiasts love about Fuji is their homage to film. And no one really does it like Fuji with those film simulations. And they're doubling down on that here. And I get the noise around it, but I think it's a dope thing, right? And I hear people all the time who don't understand film simulations in Fujis and how that work, and they don't understand the endless possibilities with film recipes and what you can do there, all thanks to their X-Trans processors, right? And how they translate noise that doesn't look like digital noise. Like, so much dopeness. I'm glad to see them leaning in, because it is something that makes them as a brand special. It is something that separates them from everyone else. And instead of allowing themselves to be bullied into making a full frame camera, right? Like no one wants that. They did this. How about you build a camera around the experience of film simulation? So I quite like what's happening here. I like the optical viewfinder. Do I like the fixed lens? Probably not. That's why I don't like the X100 series. Yeah, there's some things about it I don't like. I don't like the fixed focal length. I think the sensor being stacked in a vertical way is strange, to say the least. But I don't mind it, especially these days. I've been shooting more portraits, and I've been shooting a lot of portrait composition as opposed to landscape. So like, whatever, you know what I mean? It's fine. I don't like that the included flash is LED, and it's, you know, I don't really trust that. That can't really freeze motion the way we would want if you care about flash in that manner. But really the elephant in the room here is the price at $850. I've seen so many valid conversations for why it is worth it, why it is not worth it. I had a great conversation with Snow the other day. Snow is of the opinion that at $500 to $600, this camera is a go, not the $850. So my counter argument to that was, and I like to build, and this is how I validate things for myself and why I have no money and too many cameras. What was it called? The Instax or Instastax Evo? One of Fuji's, their little cameras that I guess it's still film, and it prints the film out. Did the camera print the film out in a Polaroid, or it pairs to a printer? Whatever. This Evo thing I thought was dope because this one did digital photos, and it did it in a piss poor implementation way. But it was still in my Amazon cart for months. I still wanted to get it. The camera with some extra film, and I like that it gave me the versatility of printing the image out, but also still taking that highly stylized film simulation, not technically sharp image, right? And saving it and posting it on Instagram, wherever I wanted to do with it. And I think that was $350. Now, where I was building the argument here was, if that's $350 and I was willing to settle with the digital image that I got out of that, then $850 doesn't seem that much farther away, or that doesn't seem like a ridiculous asking price, as long as it's under $1,000 to me, right? So that's, and Snow kind of got it from that angle, but also then like look at the Ricoh GR. The Ricoh GR is like $1,200. You know, I don't really see people complaining. I'm not spending $1,200 for Ricoh GR. I'd rather get a used RX. The Sony joints. But like the conversation when it comes to compact cameras gets wild. What I like here was there was a way to justify the price at $850, or get me close to $850, maybe $700. But then there's like the design. It's a beautiful camera to look at. It's a very compact and portable camera. It's an optical viewfinder. It's got the film advanced lever toy, right? Because it's not doing anything per se, but it is dope. And largely above all, it's got this creative limitation that you can put it in that allows you to have to finish out those 24 shots or 36, whatever you lock it to. I think that's worth $850. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I get some money to throw to it. I gotta look. I've been looking around on the Fuji subreddit, and from what I've seen, the photo quality looks pretty good. I mean, and again, you're talking to someone who isn't really interested in editing photos at all in post-processing, unless it's professional work. You're talking to someone who's happy to take up my Sony NEX 5T and get to work. You know what I mean? So I come from a very different perspective in terms of pixel peeping and image quality, but I like what Fuji's doing here, and if nothing at all, I think I will purchase this brand new because I would like to support the ideology. I want Fuji to know that there are customers out there that appreciate that they're doing things differently. They are taking a leap. And so I like to say time is the most valuable resource, and I do not take it lightly that you've shared some of yours here with me today. And no, I ain't got the money to pay for such a baller setup like this, but I'll tell you who does. Mr. Meza. Yeah. Mr. Meza, can you come hop in here and say hi to the people, man? You haven't seen this guy in a long time.
Yep.
That means I'm in Kansas.
Yes, sir.
I'm in Kansas.
Finally. Yes,
We'll
sir.
talk. We'll talk.